Welcome in, friends. In this video, I am going to share with you my week of sales, week 9 of 2024. If that sounds amazing, hit that like button and let's go.
Where the deals just shine. Boss ladies on the grind every single time. From Victor's to new, they got the fashion view. Step into their world, you feel brand new. Got Gucci, got Prada, got everything you crave. Their passion for fashion is what they bravely gave. The sale game strong and the ladies ain't
I am Stephanie with Three Queens Resale, and I am a full-time reseller. What that means is I flip pre-owned clothing, shoes, and accessories online on platforms like Poshmark, Mercari, eBay, and Depop. So in this video, I am going to share with you what sold, for how much I made, and what platforms it sold on, and how long I had it. So just all the details to help you as a reseller figure out if something's worth picking up or not. Keep in mind, I do have two people, me and my husband, resell together. And we have more of a volume-based business model, meaning we list a lot of things, often for lower prices, in hopes to move a lot of product quickly. So as opposed to someone that might have fewer things, but the items are more expensive and they're hanging on to them, those long tail sales. So I'm going to share with you what sold from February 25th to... I should know the end date. March 2nd. So let's get into it. Starting first with Sunday, February 25th, we had 7 sales. The first is this Kalia hybrid jacket in this like rose gold pink. It sold for $29 after the $5.80 in fees. And the $2.02 shipping discount, I was left with $21.18, and that had been listed since August 23rd of 2023. Next was this Ashley Stewart Nuit Tag purple pant. They sold for $12 after the $2.95 in fees and the $2.02 shipping discount. I was left with $7.03. Ashley Stewart is a plus size brand. It doesn't sell for a lot like retail. It's not that expensive retail. I still pick it up because I do like to have plus size items in my closet. We had those listed since July 26th of 2023. Next up were these Banana Republic pants, cream size 8. Banana Republic as well as J. Crew are two bread and butter brands for me. They are mall brands. They are plentiful at the Goodwill outlet where I source quite a bit. However, once again, like with Ashley Stewart, even though these are expensive retail, so that's a little different than Ashley Stewart. However, on the resale market, it could be saturated. There could be a lot of them. I'd had these pants since November 17th of 2023. They sold for $10 after the $2.95 in fees and the $2.02 shipping discount. I was left with $5.03. Not my ideal situation, but a sale is a sale. So moving on to our next, we had these Calvin Klein cropped joggers. They sold for $5 after the $2.95 in fees. I was left with $2.05, and those had been listed since August 8th of 2023. Next up, we had this Patagonia Better Sweater quarter zip, gray size medium. It sold for $50 after the 10. I was left with 40, and it had been listed since December 18th of 2023, so just over 2 months. And then we had this Kate Spade Westward shoulder bag. I received so many low balls on this bag, and really 40 is still lower than I wanted to take for this bag, but I ended up just finally moving it. It had been listed since November 21st of 2023. It sold for $40 after the $8 in fees and the $2.02 shipping discount. I was left with $29.98. And then finally on Sunday, we had this Mercari sale. It was also Patagonia. I would recommend picking up Patagonia t-shirts, pants, Of course, the better sweaters, they're going to sell really well, especially if it has the Patagonia branding, like you can see the logo on it. But this t-shirt, gray, a small gray like striped t-shirt, size small, sold for $24. After the $3.74 in fees, I was left with $20.26, and all of those items were bins items. So all of my Goodwill outlet is $1.79 a pound. So I'm able to source really cheaply, so I can flip and retain a large portion of the product because my cost of goods aren't that high. We also did a whatnot auction on that day. We made $40 off of that, and after we made $125 in sales from the platforms, and with the whatnot auction, that brought our Sunday total to $165.53. If you are interested in whatnot as a seller, in my bio, in the description of this video, there is a link for you to use my code to sign up as a seller. And if you do, I think I get $50 once you host your first show. And I would love to like support you in that. Whatnot is a strange beast. I'm not going to say that I am like an expert, but I am learning and incorporating that into my show. I sell pre-owned things. There are a lot of people who sell pre-owned, a lot of whatnot, but there's also a lot of like new at tag. You don't have to sell new at tag items. You can sell pre-owned as well. Or if you're a shopper and you just are interested, I have a code for that where you get $15 off of your first purchase. It doesn't have to be with me. There are thousands of amazing sellers on Whatnot, and you can dip in and out of auctions and use your $15 and buy yourself something pretty. Also, one of the things I love about Whatnot shipping is just under $9 for up to 5 pounds of items from the same seller. Very similar to Poshmark. And so if you go into some of these auctions that are starting for $1, you can get some amazing items for yourself or to flip for a profit on other platforms. So that's my little Whatnot promo. So if you're interested, information is in the description. Moving on to Monday. Now, it is actually St. Patrick's Day. So I am about 3 weeks behind in videos because life be lifing, and I was out of town. I went to Louisville this actual week and couldn't get my life together to get this video done for a cheer competition for that person up there. And then the week in between, we had a lot of stuff to do to get ready for her to go to nationals, which we went to Orlando for last week. So I'm a little bit behind in my videos, so I'm going to work hard to get caught up. But just for some reference, I said all that now I know in real time what happens to some of these items and like how it was rated or whatever issues. So I kind of like the idea of doing my videos a little delayed because I have some more information to share with you. So this was Monday, February 26th, and we had 8 sales. 2 of them have since been returned. They are included in these totals, but keep in mind you'll have to back that out at the end. First up was this Travelon crossbody purse. I like to pick up Travelon and Bagolini bags. They typically sell for between like $20 and $30, and this one had an extra like side like passport holder bag as well. It sold for $22, and after the $4.40 in fees, I was left with $17.60. I'd had that listed since December 1st of 2023. Next was this motherhood maternity dress. It sold for $9. After the $2.95 in fees and the $2.02 shipping discount, I was left with $4.03, and that had been listed since August 3rd of 2023. So I have, I'm trying to create a niche for myself with maternity wear on Whatnot. So we have maternity auctions at least bi-weekly, 2 a month. just maternity wear. Who needs thrifted clothing more than like pregnant ladies? You only need the items for a short period of time in most cases, so they don't get worn out and they're in great pre-owned condition. So if you are interested in joining me on Whatnot for Maternity Show, I'll link them down below and you can go on and bookmark it. I would love to see you there. But since I only do shows bi-weekly, we also list all of that stuff too. So you can also find the same items on any of the platforms that I sell on. So if you have credit somewhere else, you could use it. Next up was these Lucky Brand jeans, size 14. Lucky Brand is one that I'm not picking up anymore unless it is the larger sizes. I've had these listed since October 13th of 2023. They sold for $16 after the $3.20 in fees and the $2.02 shipping discount. I was left with $10.78. Next up, I had a bundle, and I had this men's medium size polo shirt. I'd had it listed since September 14th of 2022. And then these Birkenstock leather sandals, 6.5. They'd been listed since January 4th. And actually, I should have held out more for these sandals in my head. And I know I can see them, but I thought they were a different pair of Birkenstocks that were a little older, but it's fine. So those two items went for $27. After the $5.40 in fees, I was left with $21.60. Oh, I skipped one of the returns. I'll cover the two returns at the end. Next up were these Ann Taylor Loft gingham print raincoat. I picked it up April 29th of 2023, so almost a year ago. And it's a size large. I loved it. Had it been an extra large, I would have kept it because I love like novelty outerwear like that. I love like statement piece coats. Super cute, lightweight, perfect for spring and summer. It sold for $27. And after the $5.40 in fees, I was left with $21.60. And then on eBay, we sold these cut from the cloth Mia toothpick skinny jeans, black, size 10. Cut from the cloth is another one that I think I'm just going to reserve for larger sizes. These sold for $15. After the $2.70 in fees, I was left with $12.30. So now my end of the week total will include these two returns I'm about to tell you about. First were these, and these were both on Poshmark. First were these UGG Ainsley moccasins, black, size 6.5. They paid $14 for them. After the $2.95 in fees, I would have made $11.05. So they got a stilly of a dilly, but whatever. Next were these Autobahn Broadway panel writing pants, size small. They paid $21 after the $4.20 in fees and the $2.02 shipping discount. I would have made $14.78. So I don't respond to cases. Sometimes I don't even read them. My husband actually takes care of the customer service like 90% of the time. So when you ask me a question on any of the platforms, it's 90% of the time it's him responding, unless he's busy out of town doing something else, and then I will do it. So our kind of practice is not to respond to cases on Poshmark. If you don't want it and you want to return it, it doesn't cost us anything for you to return it. On eBay, there's a little bit of a if the item's not described, I might fight for it a little more because then I end up having to pay for shipping and you get like a little ding on eBay. But generally, if people have a reason they don't want it, I'm like, whatever, send it back. So those two items were sent back. The shoes, she just didn't like the condition of them, which to that I say, look at the photos. But and the pants, she claimed they were too small for her. All I can do is put the measurements in the listing. When you're buying things online, it is what it is. I feel like if I would have like been in a fighting mood, I could have won that case. But like I said, I don't want to use my mental energy or time to do that. So with those returns still added in, that brings our Monday total to $113.74 for those items. Moving on to Tuesday, we had some leftover offer to likers. So this is February 27th. And the first up was this Gap blazer, blue size 14. Once again, Gap is one of those ones I've got to just kind of reserve for like mid-size and larger size items. That item sold for $8 after the $2.95 in fees and the shipping discount of $2.02. I was only left with $3.03, and that had been listed since March of 2023, so just about a year. Next were these A Goldie high-rise jeans, size 27. I picked these up because people were like, they're Bolo, they're Bolo. And they sat in, well, they haven't really sat that long. I'd had them listed since December 1st, 2023. It might be because of the gray color. Maybe like traditional blue jeans sell better. But they sold for $19 after the $3.80 in fees and the $2.02 shipping discount. I was left with $13.18. Next on Poshmark, I sold these Liverpool jeans size 4. I have been doing pretty well with Liverpool. It seems it's one of the brands that I have almost 100% sell-through rate on. However, I feel like they're just now having a moment because I've had these jeans since July 17th of 2022. They sold for $23, and after the $4.60 in fees, I was left with $18.40. Next up on Poshmark was this Lane Bryant maxi dress size 24. It was beautiful and flowy, and a lot of times people ask me how I determine what is going to go in a live auction and what is going to be listed. If I think that I can flip it quickly, I'll definitely put it in the live auction. And if it's like one of the more off-size plus brands, I'll put it in the live auction because my live auction stuff goes from between $3 and $10 starts. So, but when I saw this one, I knew that I wanted to list it. It sold for $31 after the $6.20 in fees and the $2.02 shipping discount. I was left with $22.78. Next up were these Spider athletic pants, black size large. Spider is now sold at Costco. So when anything hits Costco or Walmart or Meijer, the resale value goes down tremendously, partly because it's hard to determine which ones are the ones sold at Costco and which ones are the ones that aren't. So these sold, their size large. They sold for $9. After the $2.95 in fees, I was left with $6.05. Typically, once brands do that, I stop picking them up. Just because they start to get, especially Costco, they start to get really overwhelmed at the outlet. Like you start to see a lot of them in the men's. Next up was this Johnny Was Mariposa easy linen top size extra large. So there is a story about this one. This one was also returned. But in the coming weeks, you're going to see that it's sold again. So the person returned it because of fit. Once again, we have measurements, we have pictures, we have fabric content. So I don't know what else to do. But because they returned it on eBay, they had to pay the shipping back to me. So I do accept returns on eBay. Buyer pays shipping. So this sold for $75 after the $13.50 in fees. I was left with $61.80. I believe the person started the return. We accepted it. Once we got it back, I relisted it, and it was not relisted 12 hours before it sold again for $80. So, and I think the time the person has not returned it. So you'll see that again in an upcoming video. That had been listed since January 26th, so less than a month before it sold for the first time. And that was one of the pieces that I picked up when I was in Florida for Cheer Nationals. And I got to go sourcing. Next up was this vintage Vera Bradley bluebird pattern, like crossbody purse. It sold for $7 after the $2.95 in fees. I was left with $4.05. That had been listed for about a month since January 30th. Next up was this cabbie straight leg casual pant, orange, size 16. They had been listed since August 19th of 23. They sold for $20 after the $4 in fees and the $2.02 shipping discount. I was left with $13.98. Next up, we had these Levi's. Oh, that was eBay. This is an eBay sale. These Levi's 311 shaping skinny denim jean, size 30. They sold for $15. After the $2.70 in fees, I was left with $12.30. And they have been listed since January 22nd, so right about a month. I am picking up most Levi's just because I don't know the difference, like the different grades of Levi's, and I don't research things that I don't pick up. So I figure I'll learn more about Levi's if I pick up more Levi's. Before, I had the kind of attitude, I don't know which Levi's are good, so I was like leaving all Levi's behind, and that didn't work for me. So because I never learned. So now I'm kind of learning like which Levi's go for more money, and just learning more about the brand. Next were these Croc Kids pink size 3 youth sandals. They sold for $15 after the $2.70 in fees. I was left with $12.30. They'd been listed since November 21st of 23. I do pick up Crocs out of the bins. They weigh nothing, and if they're in good condition, be sure to check the soles and check for wear, like around the heel, like or the inner foot, like if they pronate, like walk inside, like you can get wear on the inside of the shoes, or I don't know what it's called when you walk outward, but you get the wear out here, or they're a heel walker and you get the wear back here. You want to kind of check because it can be lopsided, and then the next person, it's not a good deal. So I always check for that wear, but Crocs are expensive for some reason, and if you get them out of the bins, they weigh nothing, and flip them for a good $20. Next up were another eBay sale was this Lands' End long sleeve button down shirt, blue paisley print, size 14. They sold for $20. It sold for $20 after the $3.60 in fees. I was left with $16.40. That had only been listed since February 13th. Oh wait. It had been listed a year. I was going to say 2024. I thought I just listed it. But no, it had been listed a year. Lands' End is another brand that I kind of lean towards the larger sizes. But even still with that, it sat for a while. Next up was this Nike one-piece swimsuit size medium. It had been listed since June 6th of 2023. It sold for $15.46 after the $2.78 in fees. I was left with $12.67. And then next up, we have this Western wear, guys, is having a moment. And I feel like it's going to continue to have a moment all through the summer. Where I live here in central Indiana, a lot of Western country bands come through here, and now with Beyonce going country, and I know it's just for a hot second, but we gotta jump on this train. This Rod's long sleeve Western shirt I've had since August of 2022. It sold on Depop for $18.40. After the $3.21 in fees, I was left with $15.19. And then finally on Depop, we have sold this Ralph Lauren men's button down. I didn't write down the size. I'm sorry. I feel like it was a 2XL though. It had been listed since October 26th of 23. It sold for $25. After the $4.07 in fees, I was left with $20.93, and including that Johnny Was top that was later returned and resold again, I made $232.76 for those 14 items, which is great. But then the next day, Wednesday, February 28th, was a zero sales day, and it was only my second zero sales day of 2024, so I'm not going to be that sad about it. I'm still under my goal of less than 6 zero sales days for the year, so we will keep trucking. On to Thursday, February 29th, I had a 50% off sale. I sent offers to likers for 50% off with a shipping discount. So we had a very busy day, a lot of lower end sales, but we were able to clear out a lot of inventory. So on this day, I ended up having 16 sales, 15 of those on Poshmark, and we had a whatnot auction. So get yourself a snacky snack and let's get to it. First up was this LuLaRoe Natalie jumpsuit size extra large. It had been listed since November 20th of 23. It sold for $14 after the $2.95 in fees, the $2.02 shipping discount. I was left with $9.03. I pick up LuLaRoe in larger sizes and specialty items like that. I'd never seen a jumpsuit. It was super cute, and I decided to go for it. Next up were these hunter boots, the Huntress, which is for the larger, it was the extended calf, black size 9. So for the larger calf ladies, the Hunters do not get what they command, what they used to. They sold for $24, and I did have, like I said, 50% off offers. So there were some great deals that people had. After the $4.80 in fees, excuse me, and the $2.02 shipping discount, I was left with $17.18. Next up, we had this, and those had been listed since January 18th. Next up was this LuLaRoe Disney tunic size extra large. It sold for $10 after the $2.95 in fees and the shipping discount. I was left with $5.03. That had been listed since January 25th. Next up were these Nike Golf men's shorts, size 34. They had been listed since December 18th of 23. They sold for $11 after the $2.95 in fees and the $2.02 shipping discount. I was left with $6.02. Next up was this Elena Solano knit sweater, size large. It had been listed since October 23rd of 2022. It sold for $10 after the $2.95 in fees and the shipping discount. I was left with $5.03. Next up was this Crate and Barrel charger cover for a baby's changing table. I have made it a goal this year to list more non-clothing, shoes, accessory things, kind of like move into home goods and housewares. And this sold for $10 after the $2.05 in fees, 95 cents, and the shipping discount. I was left with $5.03. Next up was this Cider New at Tag sleeveless dress, size extra large. It had been listed since October 24th of 23. It sold for $9 after the $2.05 in fees and the shipping discount. I was left with $4.03. Next up was this Ralph Lauren swimsuit, pink, size 14. It sold for $12 after the $2.95 in fees and the shipping discount. I was left with $7.03. That had only been listed since February 5th. Next up was the Cinderella full-length strapless ball gown. It had been listed since April 7th of 2023. It sold for $11 after the $2.95 in fees and the shipping discount. I was left with $6.03. Next up were these White House Black Market knit top, knit white black, size large. It had been listed since October 3rd of 2023. It sold for $11. After the $2.95 in fees, I was left with, and the shipping discount, $8.05. Then we had this Free People size small pea coat. It had been listed since October 16th of 2023. It sold for $41. After the $8.20 in fees and the shipping discount, I was left with $30.78. And then we have this Traveler's Knit Top White and Black, the Chico's Traveler's brand. It had been listed since December 6th of 23. It sold for $21. After the $4.20 in fees, I was left with $16.80. So there was no offer on that. That just sold outright regular. Then I had a Posh Show, and so I have a few bundles from that. This first bundle was this INC International Concepts black pant, size 20 women's. Then this Torrid midi chalice handkerchief skirt, size 16. And this Torrid Harper Georgette top blue, size 1X. Those three things sold for $18 after the $3. Actually, that was just a bundle, not a Posh Show. Those three things sold for $18 after the $3.60 in fees. I was up with $14.40. And then we had this Derek Hart skirt, size extra large, and these Torrid Active leggings, size 0X. Both of those sold for $12 after the $2.95 in fees. I was left with $9.05. Then we had this Cacique full coverage bra, 38F. That had been listed since January 23rd. It sold for $12 after the $2.95 in fees and the $2.02 shipping discount. I was left with $7.03. And then on eBay, we had these Under Armour 3XL men's athletic shorts. They sold for $20 after the $3.60 in fees. I was left with $16.40. So, lessons learned from this 50% off sale, which I think I'm going to do once a month or maybe once every other month. But I am going to sort by listing, like oldest to newest, and anything that is 90 days or newer is not going to be in the 50% off. As you can see, some items that sold recently sold in that 50% off sale, like that I had listed recently, and I really don't feel like they had sufficient enough time to sell for full price. So that is the first time in a long time that I'd done a 50% off of my whole closet. And I'm not going to do it that way next time I do it. I'm going to sort, like I said, oldest to newest, and not do anything that has been listed within the last 90 days. But with that said, we also had a Whatnot auction that we made $29 on. So with the Whatnot auction and all the sales, we made $195.93. And a lot of lower end sales, but I always appreciate moving things. Like I said, I do source at the bins. So I'm never in a position where I'm going to lose money on an item. Moving on to Friday, March 1st, we had this American Girl PJ set size large. So these sold for $11 after the $2.95 in fees and the $2.02 shipping discount. I made $6.03. This person got a steal of a deal. These were new at Tag. I had purchased them 2 years ago for my youngest daughter when I was in Chicago for Christmas. They're holiday pajamas, and they were too big for her. And then, of course, this year, they were too small for her. So I was like, okay, gotta let them go. And so off they went in the 50% off sale. And then next up was and those have been listed since January 22nd. Next up was this Franco Sarto Canyon Wedge Brown size 8.5. These have been listed since June 17th of 2023. They sold for $27.85. After the $4.48 in fees, I was left with $23.37, bringing my total to $29.40. Then our final day of this week, what sold, is Saturday, March 2nd. We had two sales. The first was this Untucked New Tag button-down gray 3X. This was New Tag. Like I said, I had purchased it for my husband years ago when he was teaching. He never wore it. It might have been too tight or too small. I don't know. But he cleaned out his closet and he listed a bunch of New Tag items. And Untucked just doesn't command as much as it used to. So I got an offer for $20. I took it. After the $4 in fees, I was left with $16. Then on Mercari, I sold these Skims knit drawstring lounge pants, size extra large. I've only found Skims twice, and they've both sold. These sold on February 20, or were listed on February 28th, sold on March 2nd. So they were a really quick flip. They sold for $30. After the $4.60 in fees, I was left with $25.40. Moral to the story, if you find Skims in the bins, pick it up. Then we also had a Whatnot auction that day. We made $61. So that brought our total for Saturday to $102.40 for that. So just going through our data for the week. Looking at week 9, we had a great week on Poshmark also, but a lot of lower end sales because I did have a 40% off day that Tuesday, then a 50% off day on Thursday. I won't do that again, like one sale day a week, because I want to spread the wealth around as well, like because those tend to be bigger days, and so I just think it's better to have one a week. And like I said, I'm going to look at the listing dates. But at any rate, we made $460.74 on Poshmark. All these fees are after, all these numbers are after fees. They don't take out the cost of goods, but all the platform and shipping discount fees are taken out of this number. So this is what's going into my pocket to go to the Kroger and buy groceries with, or pay my light bill with, or whatever. Next up on Mercari, we had 3 sales and we made $69.03. On eBay, we are coming back strong on eBay. We're right at a month that we've been back above standard, and we're really starting to see sales pick up. We had 7 sales at $143.87. On Depop, we had 2 sales at $36.12. Whatnot, we had 3 shows for a grand total of $130 in those shows. Whatnot, we are changing our perspective on how we do auctions. We are moving more from a reseller flipper standpoint to a customer standpoint, a person who's just shopping for themselves versus a person who is shopping to flip. So of course that is going to change the pricing structure. It is going to go up on Whatnot. So there will be an adjustment period as our new customer needs time to find us. But I need to make more money. So we had 49 items that we sold this week for a grand total of $839.76. Looking at the matrix that I kind of talk about every week, average sale price, the goal is $20. And last week's average sale price was $13.55. This week it was $17.14. So we were 86% of our goal. Items, I would like to sell 50. Last week we sold 33. This week we sold 49, just one short. So we were 98% of our goal. I'd like to make a total of $1,000 over the course of the week. Last week we made $574.02, and This week we made $839.76. That brings us to 84% of our goal. And listing, remember I started off wanting to list like 250 items a week, and it was a real struggle to get to that. Then I backed it down to 200. Then I backed it down to 150, and now I've backed it down to 100. 100, I hit 100 last week, and I will hit 100 this week. So I can do 100. That brings our listings year to date at 815. I really do want to increase so I can make our 10K listing goal for the year, but I just gotta focus on it. I don't know. It seems like just I don't know. I have lots of things I want to do, and the listing sometimes isn't what I want to do. But I will definitely. And someone has talked about outsourcing the listing, and so maybe I will. In what quarter is this? This is the second quarter. Maybe in third and fourth quarter of the year, I will look at bringing someone else on to list, so we can start the second half of the year strong and make that 10K goal. It's not just the listing, it's the sourcing. And you guys, if you've been here, you know I have some shoulder issues. I was in a car accident back in August, and I have been on physical therapy for my shoulder since then. It's not really getting any better, but definitely since I source at the bin, and I'm right-handed, like going through a rack, like even this motion repetitive, like it hurts right now, but to do it repetitively just kind of kills me. So it's kind of slowed down my sourcing. I can only source about 2 hours before I just can't take the pain anymore. But action steps. So as we move forward, again, focusing on listing those at least 100 items, hoping to grow that, and eBay, just keeping eBay clean, getting going back and relisting things on eBay that have fallen off. I try to go on eBay every day and cancel the listings that are about to expire and relist them and adjust the prices, adjust the listing. So hopefully that can move things quicker on eBay. And this week I have to prepare for Well of a Sale. If you're not familiar with that, Well of a Sale is an in-person consignment sale. We have it in central Indiana. I know it happens all over the country, but it is predominantly kids' clothes. So I am preparing for that. And I also this sale signed up to work three shifts. So I want to create a video of like my experience with Well of a Sale, kind of take you through the process of me prepping the items, getting ready for the sale, dropping my items off, as well as working the sale. So, and then conclude with how much I made. So that'll be a video coming up in a couple of weeks as we get through all of this. I do hope that you enjoy my wet sole videos. I promise to get caught up over the coming weeks, and be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, hit that bell notification, so whenever I upload you will be notified, and consider following me on Instagram as well, where I like to do daily reels and post just about what's going on in our reseller world. Thank you so much for joining, and I will see you in the next one, friends.
3 Queens, Brazil, where the deals just shine. Boss ladies on the grind every single time. From Vegas to new, they got the fashion view. Step into their world, you feel brand new. Got Gucci, got Prada, got everything you crave. Their passion for fashion is what they bravely gave. Brazil getting strong and the ladies in command. 3 Queens, Brazil, taking over the land.